The swamp in Austin is edited again as the RINOs in the state house partner with Democrats to get their preferred choice for Speaker of the House elected. Let's check it out.
There was a lot of tension the first day of the Texas legislature, but House members did elect a new speaker.
He's a Republican who got most of his support from Democrats. Fox 4's Dan Godwin here with a look. Dan?
And Lauren, day one of the Texas legislative session was a reminder of the deep divisions that remain in the Texas Republican Party. Some Republicans on Tuesday ignored the threat of being primaried in 2 years and sided with Democrats to elect Lubbock Republican Dustin Burrows House Speaker. A total of 36 GOP members broke ranks with their party on the vote. The majority of House Republicans had backed Mansfield Representative David Cook for the key leadership position. After the vote, Burrows made a plea for the two parties to work together on shared legislative goals.
Recent days have tested our bonds, yet they've also proven that this institution is greater than any one individual or any faction.
But not everyone, of course, in Burrows' party was cheering his win. Both Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick and Attorney General Ken Paxton criticized Burrows for becoming Speaker with majority Democratic support. Perhaps the number one issue before the legislature this session, school vouchers that would use taxpayer dollars to help parents pay for private school tuition. Governor Abbott has said he thinks he has the votes to pass vouchers this session. The new House Speaker supports vouchers, but the fate of the measure is still not clear.
And that's the problem with this right here. So 36 Republicans sided in 49 Democrats, a majority Democrats voted for this guy. Here's a chart right here. If you can't see it, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. This is how it's broken down. He won 85 to 55, 30 votes. And you can see right here, there are 36 so-called Republicans on this list. I don't know. Look, I live in the DFW, and my rep is definitely on this list. I can see him as I'm looking at. He's on here. It's going to take more than primarying somebody. And here are the Republicans. Even 3 Democrats voted for David Cook, who was backed by the Republican caucus in the Texas House. He was the more conservative choice. He was even Donald Trump Jr. chimed in on this and was endorsing him. So he is the preferred choice to get the conservative agenda passed. And this is what is going to have to happen. It's going to take more than primary. This is from the True Texas Project. The answer isn't primaries for these traitors. It's censure them and throw them off the GOP primary ballot under the newly expanded Rule 44. What is Rule 44? At issue is Rule 44 of the Republican Party of Texas rulebook, which deals with censure as a way of punishing party members for defying and undermining the GOP's agenda. After long and contentious debate during the Texas GOP's 2024 convention, delegates expanded Rule 44 to require that county or party chairs reject primary applications from any candidate that does not swear or affirm under penalty or perjury that they have not been censured in the 2 years prior. The new rules also apply to judges who are elected in partisan races but are required by the state's judicial ethics code to be politically neutral on the bench. So we will have to make sure these guys, these men and women these traitors, to censure them, and that way they can't get on the primary ballot to run again next time around. This is a great way to do it versus trying to primary somebody and they have all this money backing them. They have their establishment guys or women, and they go on and win in a landslide. I've seen it happen. It happened in my district. This guy, he had a primary challenger. Of course, I voted for the challenger, and he got blown off the map. Now, the problem with this is that, yes, he's a Republican. He backs school choice, and he doesn't want terror. He wants to fight terrorism. And lower property taxes. That's all great. But the problem is that with Dade Phelan, the last Speaker of the House here in Texas, we got things that were watered down. We didn't get everything we wanted. We got some things. We got some things on border security and things like that, which is very important. But then a lot of things got killed because you have these Democrat Party chairs appointed to these committee chair positions, and they'll just kill the bill. They'll just kill things in the House. The Senate, I'm not worried about. The Texas Senate passes very conservative bills. It's the House that's the problem. And this is what Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick had to say about this. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick issued a statement yesterday, following the election of Dustin Burrows. Today on the second ballot, Republican Dustin Burrows was elected Speaker of the House of Texas with a majority of Democrats and a minority of Republican votes. Despite having a clear majority of Republican votes, Rep. David Cook from Mansfield was defeated. Speaker Burrows was handed the speakership by Democrats, as happened behind closed doors, session after session since 2009. This may be the first time in our nation's history where the minority party, openly elected the Speaker of a legislative body instead of the majority. One cannot imagine if the Democrats had 88 members of the Texas House that they would allow Republicans to elect the Speaker. I am proud of the Republicans who stood together and voted for Rep. Cook, the House Republican caucus nominee. Republican voters expected the new Speaker to be elected by Republicans, not Democrats. That's exactly right. Look, Donald Trump got 6.3 million, almost 6.4 million votes here in the state of Texas in November. And look, Republicans won up and down the ballot here in the state. It wasn't just Trump who did well. Everybody did well. Just about, we swept places. We did well at the border. We gained seats in the House. We gained seats in the Texas Senate. And then we get this. This is not what we asked for. This is what happens when you have a swamp, when you have corrupt politicians making backdoor deals with each other, going against the will of the people. I did not ask for this when I went to the booth. When I went to the ballot box, I voted for Republicans in the state to get things done, to pass conservative legislation. And we'll get into that in another video about the things that were killed last time because of this nonsense right here. All right, so the Texas Senate is organized, and we'll keep going here. The Texas Senate is organized and prepared to conduct business swiftly, and we are ready to move on emergency items as designated by the governor and then on to the regular order of business. Everyone knows that no legislation can make its way to the governor's desk without passing both chambers. The following bills are just a small sample of conservative legislation that passed the Senate in recent sessions and died in the House. This session, I am counting on Speaker Burrows and will work with him to deliver on these promises to pass important conservative legislation that previously failed to pass the House. I will make a separate video on things that did not pass last session, about 48 bills that were killed because of RINOs in the House, Democrat committee chairs, and this guy's name is attached to some of that nonsense, that the stuff that didn't get passed. Our new speaker essentially killed a lot of bills on his own by running out the clock. We'll get into that in a separate video. But the problem is you're going to get watered down bills. You're going to get a lot of things that will not pass. And it's sad because we're Texas. A lot of people think Texas is a very Republican state, super conservative. And yes, we are conservative here in Texas. Is shown in the last election how we went even more red. 6.4 million votes for Donald Trump. It was a landslide. I think Kamala got 4.8, 4.9. She got blown out of the water. And the voters did not ask for this. This is the problem with people staying in one place for far too long. Do you think they went into Austin or DC like this? I think a lot of people just change while they were, when the longer they stay in a certain place, they start getting these deals, favors, and these lobbyists. And yeah, and then you get things like this against the will of the people. It's sad that it happens here. And Florida is more conservative than Texas. We're supposed to be the beacon of hope in the United States, the conservative bastion here in the state of Texas. But our House down in Austin continues to stonewall things from really happening, from us getting really conservative things passed. We got some great things passed, like a lot of border security bills. We got election integrity passed, which I think has been very good for the state. For the people who are pro-life, we got the 6-week abortion ban passed here. Very controversial, but it passed. And we have 88 seats. Out of 150 seats in the Texas House, we have 88. And I think the Senate we have 31 seats down there, and I believe we hold 21 or 20 or 21, one of the two. But we have a majority. The Senate, I'm not worried about the Senate. Dan Patrick does his thing down there. He gets things passed, but the House is a mess, and we have to clean up. And it starts with this rule, this new rule that's been updated in this for the GOP agenda. If they can't get on the ballot, then they won't be able to run for the primaries. So that's one way to knock them out. But all right, guys, more coming up. I will get into these bills that were killed on the next video. Check it out. Like and subscribe. See you next time. Thank you. Take care.